we have Cayden on the phone.
Heyo.
And today we are doing a preview of Persona 5 Royale, which, okay, first things first, is a weird game to preview because it's already out in Japan, and I have actively tried not to find out too much information about the Japanese version, but I know a couple of things that I've included here, but this is mostly about what I've been able to play. So from the get-go, Persona 5 Royale is Persona 5, almost exactly, with a couple of cool new additions that frankly should not lead it to cost $60 and probably isn't worth buying unless you're a huge Persona fan and wanted an excuse to play 5 again, which is fair enough, or you've never played Persona. It is the better version, but not by much. Cayden, you played Persona 5.
Oh yeah, I played the entire game. I really liked it, and I'm super interested in Royale. I know it's not going to add too much, but can you talk about what you actually saw, what actually is new?
Yes. To get that out of the way, I feel like you are the kind of person who should play it based on that. I'm not going to say no one should. It's just it's bad for my soul. Just make it DLC. It seems mean, but still. Okay, major new thing is grappling. Joker basically has a grappling hook that basically just involves tapping L1 when you're prompted, and it'll take you to some small new hidden locations around the world, though I only saw this in the first palace. I didn't see any other grappling locations throughout the world. And I expected it to have gameplay, in that I expected to see something I could grapple from and swing from it or something and choose a direction, but it's actually just a button press and then it's an animation, so you see Joker grapple, or you see him swing, but you don't actually get to control any of that. That said, using it in tandem with the game's true sight is cool because it does add extra hidden layers to the first palace, at least, which is naturally the only one I got to try. So new mechanic, gives you some new areas, leads you to some new collectibles, but it's not gameplay heavy, if that makes sense.
That's a little disappointing. So we're not talking any crazy Just Cause shooting around, whipping around on helicopters or anything like that.
Definitely not gonna be flinging goats around in Persona 5.
Lame. Did those rooms feel impactful at all, or is it just kind of oh, there it is?
There is a new item, which I'm not entirely sure what it does yet. There are 3 of them in every palace, supposedly, and it'll tell you how many you found and where you found them. So I don't know what they result in. But no, for the most part, I mean, it's just a cool extra to break up the palaces a little bit more and add some more puzzles and a couple of, I guess, different traversal options. But for the most part, no, nothing major.
Okay, so, that's pretty cool, but is there any other changes that may have been made to that first palace that you saw? I know it was pretty clear-cut in the first game. Did they make it a little bit more diverse? Did they change anything major?
They've pretty significantly changed the boss fight in the first palace. But yes, the boss fight has been pretty significantly changed. It felt a little bit easier to me, but it's also a bit more fun and story-focused. There are cameos from different characters that the boss interacts with, but technically they're his imagination. It's cool. I like the change, and others are supposed to have changed as well, but I didn't get to try that. Basically, the way this preview event worked is pretty strange. They gave us 4 save files to test out very specific things rather than just play through a long chunk of the game. So did get to do that first palace and that boss fight, didn't get to see any of the others, so I can't speak to those.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Did they change the overall design for it, the boss, or is it just how the boss plays out?
Yeah, I mean, there is a different design to him, and it's also how you get to him is slightly different as well, a slightly different puzzle. So I definitely like this change. I think this change is fun, and it's also cool for people who do want to play through Royale, who are big Persona 5 fans, that you will have to think about that fight differently, because I think that the first one was also probably one of my least favorite fights in the game. So
yeah, I can agree to that.
Yeah,
but that's pretty cool that they actually made a significant change to something that people may have responded negatively to. So any other really cool changes that you liked, or any that you didn't like?
Okay, so my favorite of all of the changes, and it's really the only other one I got to see, to be fair, is a new location, which is Kichijoji. It is a completely new area you can get the train to. It's one of the isn't covered by your student bus ticket or train ticket, so you have to pay extra for it, but it's pretty big and features a bunch of new shops and stores, plus a thread for you to address in mementos, basically a new job, if you can figure out how to navigate that and find where that person is and uncover that mystery. There's a place where you can hang out and play pool or darts with your friends, though neither of these games is properly interactive like baseball is, which I also found to be a little bit of a bummer. Still, there's something different to do, and one very cool thing about that particular establishment where you can play both of those games is that you can hang out with everyone in the Phantom Thieves rather than just one-on-one. So you get to call everyone to come hang out, which gives you extra boosts for absolutely everyone. It's also just really pretty. I've been to that place in Tokyo, and it's a really good recreation of the area. It's really bustling, it's alive, it's not just a single frame, there are alleyways and streets for you to walk around. I really liked the area. This was super pretty, and I enjoyed spending time there, and it's definitely a cool addition.
So that particular edition of being able to hang out with all of the Phantom Thieves is super cool to me, because on my first playthrough of Persona 5, the original, I maxed out everybody's social links on my first playthrough playthrough, which was meticulous.
Damn.
So this makes
hard.
this a lot easier,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. And it's also like, yeah, some of the interactions there are really cute because I feel like they almost have this culture of like, yeah, they're underage, but they're all excited to get to hang out in like a kind of bar environment. So it's a fun place for the squad to hang out for sure. Yeah, I played darts with Ryuji, and being Ryuji was just very, very excited and stoked when he scored well and very encouraging, and it's sweet. I liked it. It was
Ryuji's absolutely my boy. I love Ryuji.
Really?
I love Ryuji. I really do.
I think I love him a little bit. I love them all though. It's tough.
They're really robust and well done characters.
Yeah, I don't think there's one I don't like. Persona 5 is very good. You should play it.
So are there changes that you didn't get to see but they talked about? Something There has to be something more, right?
Yes, so there are some things that I know about, even though I have sort of tried to avoid it. This is for anyone who doesn't already know and hasn't like already tried to find out as much as they can about the Japanese version. Maybe this is the first time you're hearing about this. There is a new character who I believe I saw once, very briefly. Didn't get to raise my confident levels with her by any means. And based on trailers, the character whose name is Kazumi seems like she could have had a significant impact on the story, but those in Japan who have already played it said she's barely actually in it at all. You see her and then she kind of disappears, which is a huge bummer.
Yeah, that was actually a huge like sticking point for me. When I saw her originally for the trailers, I was like, is this going to be like Persona 3 Portable, where you can pick your protagonist, which version of Joker would you want? Would you like boy Joker or girl Joker?
That would have been cool.
But apparently, no, she's just a there and gone again character.
Yeah, from the sounds of things. Like I said, I only saw her once, so I guess I can kind of attest to that. Definitely only saw her one time. Yeah, it seems like it's very underwhelming, and I think a lot of Persona fans, from what I can tell, have been let down because they had the expectation you had, which I think is a fair one. They just haven't really executed on that, which is a bummer.
Super lame.
There is also a new confidant who isn't a party member, who's Takuto, school counselor. His confidant route provides perks to combat negotiations, and I think like a lot of his story is revolved around talking to Ann because she's had stuff happen at the school, trying not to spoil the story of Persona 5. It's very good. There are a few other things. Futaba gets her own all-out attack, which I think is actually very cool, especially because she's not a party member. Like it's just a very cool way to include her because we love Futaba. She's great.
Futaba's the best.
Yeah. And then there are two partner attacks, which is Haru and Morgana, and then Makoto and Ryuji, which also very cool. There's also a new animation and a new song, both of which are just as stylish as Persona has always been. And it looks like there are a couple of extra social interactions as well as new enemies and, you know, some other just minor small updates. The biggest thing, which again I did not get to see, is that there's a whole extra school semester and a brand new palace. The theme is Opera House for the palace, which sounds really cool, but not knowing anything new about either of those things means I can't do anything but speculate, so I'm gonna try not to do that.
So that seems like the biggest actual addition that you talked about.
For sure.
I mean, a character that was kind of added, some new monsters to some demons to kill, some team up attacks and little things here and there, but a whole new palace, new boss. That's probably the meat of these new additions.
Oh, for sure. And I don't know why we weren't able to see it because the game's already out. I guess like maybe they just haven't localized that area. Maybe they don't want to spoil it. I'm not really sure. It seems like a really odd choice to not.
Yeah, that's a bit weird to me.
Yeah, but again, I mean, even then, having an extra palace and an extra semester, especially if, you know, there's only one palace in that semester, I can't imagine that it's going to be too long or have too much content for like how much the semester's going to drag things out. That is, the palace could be huge. I don't know. It just should have been DLC. It just seems like such an obvious DLC move to add those things in. I guess it's just kind of weird to make DLC where you also add things earlier in the story, like the new location and like the new confidants. Like that seems like, I understand that would be difficult to do, but yeah, I mean, the game is already out in Japan, like we said. People have said that even the changes that sound significant are lackluster or are just not enough. I haven't played it, can't say for sure, but I just keep coming back to the fact that it sounds like this should have been Persona 5 DLC rather than a whole new game that they're charging $60 for. It just seems like so much. And I don't know, I don't want to tell anyone not to buy it, especially if it's their first one to buy, but I just feel like I want to air that I feel like that's a fair grievance of the Persona 5 community, especially for people who just can't afford to buy the same game twice with a little bit extra content. It just doesn't seem fair. I don't know.
Yeah, that seems like a fair assumption, especially based off of the fact that, you know, again, Persona 3 Portable, which is the additional version of that, had a tremendous new story and additional content and a new playable character. Persona 4 Golden had a meaty extra like bit of game to play and a lot of new changes. And then even Catherine Full Body had another Catherine and another full story and another path to go down and some new like elements to it. This just seems like here's some extra bells and whistles that we decided to add on.
Yeah, that maybe got cut in development or something. It's a bummer. It's a huge bummer.
So here's one. A lot of Persona fans were really hoping to be able to, you know, have Joker date some of the other characters that Joker runs around with. So can you date Ryuji? Can you you date anybody else? Is that a possibility in any of this?
Let me date Yosuke.
Yeah.
No. You cannot romance any male characters in Persona 5. You still can't date men. But they did change the confidant system, so now you can rank up fully, but like you don't get the option to court them on Valentine's Day or whatever.
That's kind of lame.
Yeah, it's this one I wanted to address just because so much of the Persona community has been talking about it for a really long time, especially with like some of the gay characters or the only two actual gay characters in Persona 5 are portrayed pretty poorly. But I guess it's not something that they wanted to explore with this particular character or this particular story.
That's a little disappointing, but maybe Persona 6.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like I want that art boyfriend, I feel like he's one of the best he's so sweet, he's not creepy.
That doesn't surprise me that you would go after him.
I want the art boyfriend. That said, can I ask who your best girl is, Cayden?
Oh gosh, it's gotta be, honestly, it's probably a tie between Haru and Futaba.
Yeah, I'm definitely Takumi. I like my hot goth nurse.
That doesn't surprise me. She's great.
She's excellent. Also, just her like perks are so good if you level up with
perks. Yeah,
that's about it. So everything I played is just extremely Persona 5, which is a fantastic game. Might be the most stylish game I've ever played. It's beautiful.
I can agree to that.
If you haven't played it, like totally jump in on Royale. There is definitely a benefit to choosing, if you're buying them now, Royale over 5, 100%. The new area is cool. Grappling adds a nice new layer to exploration, and the boss fights changing is for sure fun. I just don't feel like it's enough for people who have already invested so much time in Persona 5 to have to play through a very similar game with the same price. It just is a bummer. And that's about it. But of course, we're wrong about any of this. We will find out on March 31st, 2020 when the game comes out on PlayStation 4. I'm Alana. That's Cayden on the phone. Thank you for watching Inside Gaming.
See ya.
Hello everyone, I'm Alana. This is Connor. We're Inside Gaming, and this is